Hey guys, NFL Wildcard weekend. I'm going to break down the 6 games, go through the 3 that I like. Before I start again, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about the channel. I'm continuing to build this channel up, guys. Again, thanks for all the support during the regular season. And now it's Wildcard weekend. This weekend, I'm not going to lie, it's on the AFC had some good matchups, has some good matchups. I just find these games are kind of tough to handicap this week. So I'll do my best. I'm not loving the slate of games. As a fan, I think they'll be great games. But to bet them, a lot of these games are around key numbers. So we'll do our best. But I'll go through the 6 in case you guys want to bet some other games. And then I'll tell you in more detail the 3 that I like. So let's start off Saturday's game. The first game, Indianapolis at Buffalo. This line is 6.5 for Buffalo. Maybe you find a 7. I have 7.5 again. I'm betting at a kind of a square shop here. I'm just betting on Pro Line. So it's, if you can find a 7 out there, that'd be great. I got 7 in the hook. So you know where I'm going with this one. Just getting a good number. I'm taking Indianapolis. If it's under 7, you know what? Again, this is one of the games. First game off the bat at that key number. So I don't really think there's necessarily a wrong pick here. I know this is maybe one of the most public bets of the weekend. People love Buffalo, and I don't blame them. They're a great team to bet. They're rolling. Their defense is pretty good. Their offense can score a lot of points. They look like a good football team. So if you get them from under 7 points, if it's 6.5 points, you know what? If you take Buffalo, great. I have it 7.5. I'm taking Indianapolis. If you find a 7, I would take Indy. I think it's a good number. One of the reasons why I think this weekend's tough, not only are a lot of the games falling around key numbers, but the teams that I'm leaning towards, I feel like they only have they don't have a lot of backup plans. You know what I mean? They have to play a very specific style of football, and if it doesn't go their way, they're more or less going to lose the game. Whereas the teams I'm betting against can beat you multiple ways. So then you might be asking, well, why don't you just pick that team? Again, I don't really feel like there's a lot of line value taking Buffalo at -7.5 or Buffalo -7. I don't like laying a lot of points, in playoff games. Having said that, another reason why maybe you look towards the favorite. I think in wildcard weekend, I think 88% of the time when the team wins, they cover the spread. So you can almost throw the spreads out during wildcard weekend if you are looking towards the favorite, and that can help you lean towards taking the favorite. But some of these lines are pretty big, so I don't know. I mean, that 88%, if you broke it down to maybe that's a lot of that is when it's under a touchdown type of thing. I don't know. I don't have that information. But I do know typically they do cover a lot of the times in the playoffs. So that could be a reason to go Buffalo's way. But enough about that. I just think I'm getting a good number with the Colts. And I have to kind of ride, unfortunately, Phillip Rivers. The way Indy's going to win this game is very simple. They have to not commit stupid penalties and not turn over the ball. And that's what you have to do when you're on the road, when you're an underdog, when you're playing a really good offense like Buffalo. You can't just give them extra possessions. You can't be giving them free yards. So we're banking on Phillip Rivers here, and that's a gamble, right? So this is what I mean by I only really have one way to win this game or cover, and that's the fact that can Rivers have a clean game? Can they not turn over the ball? Can they not commit a lot of stupid penalties? Then Indy's got a chance. But if he's getting a lot of pressure on him, if he's turning over the ball, they have no chance. And that's the issue, right? Buffalo can beat you in a couple different ways. So you have more outs with the Bills, but you're getting points of Indy. So it depends what you kind of like there. It's a gamble. And this game reminds me a lot of Tennessee and Green Bay a couple weeks ago. And I took Tennessee and I said, listen, Tennessee's got to play. They got to run the ball. They got to be able to keep Rodgers off the field. They got to do all these things. They can stay close. Otherwise, they'll get blown out. And they got blown out. That could happen in this game. Indy definitely can lose 34-17, right? But Indy also can keep this within a possession. Indy can win this game, right? So it is a gamble, but you only have 6 games to choose from, and I like this game, and I'm getting a good number, so I'm taking the Colts plus 7.5. You got to hold your breath. Rivers, older quarterbacks in cold weather games, You don't really like that. He hasn't done well in the playoffs in his career. You're playing Russian roulette here with Phillip Rivers. We know that. But Buffalo doesn't have a whole lot of experience either in the playoffs. They were there last year and they lost. This is kind of their, that was kind of the stepping stone, I think, last year. I think this year is the year where Buffalo should make the next move. They're definitely good enough. They won 13 games during the regular season. They're a legit team. But it's too many points for me. I think Taylor, hopefully he can get the carry the rock and play well for the Colts, keep Buffalo's offense off the field. And, Indianapolis, interestingly enough, I think they've only been an underdog one time this season. That's crazy to me. So Vegas obviously respects this team because they've been a favorite pretty much every single week. And people still don't really believe in them. This is the first time they're a big underdog. So we'll see how they respond. But I like Colts plus the points. You're gambling with Rivers, but listen, we got to ride with him here. I can't take Buffalo laying that many points, although of course they can blow the Colts out if everything goes their way. Second game, I'm not on this game. My Rams are taking on Seattle. This line is 3.5 for Seattle, maybe 4, but this line has come back down a little bit, closer to 3. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. I think you can go either way. Seattle is, I think it's a good side. I think, their defense has been playing better. Their offense has picked it up. And the Rams, who knows what's going on with their quarterback. I don't really think it's, a big drop-off from, Goff to Wolford. But, I do think Goff does give them more of a chance to win. But, if he can't throw the ball, he's only 2 weeks removed from thumb surgery. It's going to be tough for him. And so if he's injured and he's going to hurt the team, you got to put the backup in. And Wolford, he's a mobile quarterback. He can move around. He played against the Seahawks a couple weeks ago when he came in. I don't know if he came in that game. I don't know if Goff finished that game, but that was the game that Goff got hurt. And, the Rams, they're banking on their defense. They have the number 1 ranked defense. Offensively, we'll see what they can do. I think Cooper Kupp's coming back. He's huge. Him with Woods at receiver makes his offense pretty good. But I think this total is like 42, and I think it's going to be more of a grinded out, lower scoring game. So it's a short line. Seattle can cover it, but the Rams can win this game. If their offense can click, and they've had Seattle's number. I mean, they lost to Seattle a couple weeks ago, but that game was a lot closer than than the score showed. I mean, Goff, couldn't QB sneak in from the 1. He threw a stupid interception. He slid short of the first down by a yard. He made a lot of mental mistakes in that game. The Rams could have won that game, and they're still, I believe, a better overall team than Seattle. But they have to somehow overcome, that Seattle's scoring. And if the Rams can't match that, they're obviously not going to be able to win. Their defense is going to keep them in it, but can their offense get through? And I don't know. It's a 50-50. So either way you can go with this. I think the Rams are the sharp side, but Seattle, of course they can cover this game, but I'm not going to be involved in this game. Next game, Tampa Bay at Washington. Tampa's 8.5 point favorite. I have this game at 9. Not really a big deal. These are dead numbers. So this is the one game where there's really no key number. All the other ones kind of fall in 3, 7, or 10. So whether you get 8, 9 points, it doesn't matter. Pick who you like there. I like Washington. I will be betting this game. I'm taking Washington plus 9. Again, another gamble, just like with Indianapolis, because Washington can only beat you one way, and that's if they can play defense, get pressure on the quarterback, and be able to run the ball. Similar to how Indy has to win, because we know Buffalo can score, we know Tampa can score. And we saw Washington play last week. Their offense does not look good. Alex Smith does not look good. And a lot of the things Washington has to do to win this game, Tampa does a good job of countering that. Tampa has the number 1 rush defense. Washington has to run. Washington has to get after the quarterback. Tampa has a really good offensive line. So, listen, Washington's going to have to find a way on offense to get yards, move the chains, keep Tampa off the field. They're going to have to find a way. That's their only chance of staying in this game. Whether they can do it or not, it's hard to say, right? But it's too many points. It's more of a bet against Tampa, honestly, than on Washington. I think Brady in his career on the road is like 4-4 in the playoffs. He's got 9 touchdowns, 10 picks. he's had the luxury of having bye weeks, playing at Foxborough twice a year and getting the Super Bowl. Well, he has to do it the hard way this time. He's got to be a wild card team. He has to go on the road. Tampa's played a bunch of road games here down the stretch. Tampa, of course, should win this game. There's no question about it. But 9 points, I think it's too many. Just a little bit too many. I thought this line should have been around 7.5. At 9, I'll take Washington. I don't know if Evans is playing. Hopefully not. I'm hoping Chase Young in this defense can get after Brady. I also heard something weird that Brady goes to sleep at like 8:30. That's his bedtime at 43 years old. This is a late game, and Brady hasn't done well in late games. He's like 1-3 straight up, 0-4, I think, against the spread. So, you know what? Primetime game, Washington, buy low, sell high. And Washington is a buy low team. They didn't look good last week. They won the division, limped their way in the playoffs. Listen, everyone's going to be on Tampa Bay. Everyone's on Tampa Bay. I'll go with Washington. Don't love it, but I'm not laying 9 points of Tampa. I think Washington has to be able to somehow get pressure on Brady and get a running game going. And if they can do that, I think it's enough points where they can keep this within a touchdown. But I know a lot of people do like Tampa to blow them out. I mean, whatever. You gotta pick these games the way you think they're gonna go, and I think Washington can somehow keep this game close. Sunday's games. This could be the best game of the weekend. I'm not betting it. Baltimore and Tennessee. Baltimore at Tennessee. Baltimore's laying 3. Again, you're paying some juice for that one. It's probably like 3 with -125. The line really is 3.5 for Baltimore. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. If I had to pick, I'd take Baltimore. They cover the line. It's a tough one though, right? You're gonna expect this might be the highest scoring game of the weekend. I like unders for a lot of these games. This game could go over. Tennessee's defense is putrid. They're the worst defense by far in the playoffs. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. They're like 28th. They're last and third down defense. They can't get off the field. Baltimore should be able to move the ball. Baltimore has a little bit of a revenge factor. They lost against Tennessee last year in the playoffs. They lost to them in overtime this year. But they were able to move the ball. They put up over 500 yards of offense on Tennessee. And the biggest difference from last year to this year is Tennessee's defense is crap. Like I said, last year Tennessee won 28-12. Stopped the MVP, Lamar Jackson. This year, they're going to score. And I think Baltimore's defense is better than Tennessee's. They have the revenge factor. And, I think they're going to be able to have success at putting some easy points on the board. Can Baltimore stop Derrick Henry? I don't know. I don't think it really matters if Tennessee can't stop Baltimore. So I expect a high-scoring game. I lean Baltimore, but I'm not betting this game. Next game, we have Chicago at New Orleans. This line is 10. Where I'm betting, it was what I expected. It went up. It went to 10.5 for New Orleans. So all these lines moved the direction I felt like they were going to move. It was 7 originally for Indy, went up to 7.5. It was like 8 for Tampa, went up to 9. 10 for New Orleans, went up to 10.5. I got a lot, where I'm betting, there's just a lot of people that take the favorite, right? So they drive the lines up. So that's why I'm on the dogs, really. I'm not betting this game. If it was 9.5, 10, I'm on New Orleans. 10.5, I'm not going to bet it. Listen, I'm not going to bet Chicago at any number. It's New Orleans or pass for me. If you get a 10, 9.5, 10, I take New Orleans, 100%. At 10.5, I just lost some line value, so I'll pick somewhere else. But I don't know if there's a number that you can give me that I would pick Chicago. They're so bad. New Orleans should be able to score at will. Chicago, listen, they're just not good. They're 8-8. They might be worse than Washington. So no, I think New Orleans, listen, they've lost the last couple of years at home in the playoffs in overtime. They lost against Minnesota last year. They lost against the Rams the year before that. They lost against Minnesota, that crazy game a couple of years ago. New Orleans, could be Breeze's last run. He's not going to be stopped by Chicago. I know it's a big number. I would lay the 9.5 or 10, but I'm not betting this game. It got a little bit too high for me at 10 in the hook. The last game I will be betting, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. This one's Pittsburgh -6. I have it again. This line got driven up. A lot of people on Pittsburgh, very public team, went up to 7. Because of that, I'll be on Cleveland +7. This line opened up like 4.5, and then, I don't know, the coach isn't going to be there, who's also the offensive coordinator for the Browns with the whole COVID situation. They weren't able to practice. The facility was closed, all this stuff. So this line went up because the odds are against Cleveland at this point. And it went up to 6.5, and at 7, I'm betting Cleveland. If it was 4 points, yeah, I'd be on Pittsburgh, but it's too many points now. And you know what? This is another one like the Indy game. I think Cleveland can win this game, so I think they're gonna win. And you're giving me 7, I'll take Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't have a very good defense. They're okay. They're not great. Pittsburgh's defense is good. They're not great. Cleveland's offense, they're okay. Pittsburgh's offense, I don't think is that great. Honestly, I think Pittsburgh is I'm not going to call them fraudulent like the Cowboys, but they're not a really strong 12-4 team. I mean, they were 11-0 thanks to a very weak schedule. It was kind of like New England last year when they started off 8-0, 9-0, and everyone thought this was the best defense. And I'm like, they played Cincy, they've been playing Washington, they played nobody. And Pittsburgh started off 11-0, crappy schedule, and they won one of their last 5 games. They're not a good team. I mean, they're okay, but they're not a strong 12-4 team. I think offensively they have a lot of questions. Defensively, they're okay. I don't think they're this vaunted defense that people talk about. So I think this game is a lot closer than 7 points. I think, what goes against Cleveland is the fact that it's history, right? Like, they've lost 17 straight games in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has the experience. Cleveland doesn't have this experience. So if you're going based on experience and you're going based on history, take Pittsburgh. But, I think I look at Cleveland, they're minus 11 net points, and you're 11-5. So, and Pittsburgh's plus 104. But again, a lot of that was the start of their season at 11-0. But I think Pittsburgh, they have some holes. I think Cleveland will be able to run the ball, and if they can run the ball, that's going to help Baker Mayfield out. They just played each other last week, so that game was pretty meaningless for Pittsburgh, and Cleveland barely won against Pittsburgh's backups. But I think Cleveland should come into this game focused. I know Juju Smith has been talking a lot of crap about the Browns, and he can't keep his mouth shut, I guess. Hopefully that motivates them. The Browns, they're a funny team. I mean, they're hard. I haven't been on Cleveland. I haven't been on Pittsburgh really this season. But just seeing highlights of these Browns games, I mean, they're a team that, they're up and down, but they have found ways to win games this year. I think they'll be able to stay close. Again, I think they're live to win this game. So this kind of feels like a weird game to me. So I'll take Cleveland plus 7. Those are my 3 this week, guys. I'm going with dogs. Listen, it's a tough slate. I don't feel as good as I did last week with these picks, but I'm getting good numbers. So I'm taking the Colts plus 7.5. I'm taking Washington plus 9. And I'm taking Cleveland plus 7. So depending, again, where those numbers lie for you, I think 7 or up for Indy. The Colts are the right side. I think Washington. I like Washington. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Listen, if you can get anything around a 7, grab Cleveland. And yeah, good luck, guys. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend, and let's have a good first round of the playoffs here, and then we'll head into next week.